morning, everybody. It's the Biker Hiker. We're here in Wetumpka, Alabama, and we're visiting historic Fort Toulouse / Fort Jackson. Yeah, there was actually two forts here, even though most of the time you just hear people talk about Fort Toulouse. Fort Toulouse was a French fort. It was founded in 1717. It lasted until I think the brochure said 1763. In 1775, the naturalist William Bartram came through here and did some studies. And then Fort Jackson part comes along for the War of 1812, and Andrew Jackson actually accepted the surrender of the Creek Indians, I believe it was here, ending the Creek Indian War. So we'll go around, we'll look at everything. They have an official hike here of the Arboretum Trail, I think is what they call it. But you can also go a little bit further down the river, and they have Indian burial mound down there. While it's not officially part of the hike that's listed, I'm going to do that anyways and make a little bit longer hike and just check out everything. So here we go. All right, so they do have a visitor center here. It's Sunday today. The museum is actually only open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 4. I've been here before. This is really actually just a couple miles from my house. And the museum's not real huge. It does have some neat little things in there, pottery, all that kind of thing. It's a real small gift shop. But you know, it's nothing spectacular, but it is a museum and it's important to go and check all these things out. So if you're here, stop by, sign in, let them know that you visited, all that good stuff. They do have brochures out on the right next to the door in case you're here like I am today and you want to do a little self-guided tour. All right, so there you go, right off the get-go. Nice sign for the Bartram Arboretum Trail. Restrooms right over there. Nice little sign right here with information. It is a birding trail if you're into the birding thing, and all kinds of other good information on this little sign here. Although I have not studied it, it's actually the first time I've looked at this sign, so I couldn't even tell you what half of these things are on here. But come back here to the official start of the trail. Number to correspond with your map. And there you go. Watch out for snakes. That's one of the reasons that I carry my hiking stick. Spiders and snakes. I would highly suggest, if you don't have a hiking stick, find you one, buy you one, whatever. And right off the get-go, as we get up here, there's a headstone. There's actually a couple of these on this trail, and I can't remember the story behind it. Jean-Louis Colin Fontenot, sergeant in the French colonial marines, served at Fort Toulouse 1730 to 1755. Born on December 18th, 1686 in Poitiers, France. Died on October, looks like 29th, 1755 at Fort Toulouse. Protector of all something in North America. And the bottom line, I can't read, something must be dedicated in 1998. So there you go, Jean-Louis Fontenot. So we're just getting started and come up to this little side trail. We already had the one headstone for Jean-Louis Fontenot, and here is another headstone off the trail here. Let's see who's up here. Isaac Ross, who was born January 21st, 1764 and died January 27th, 1821. Of his age, can't quite tell what that is either. But there you go. And we've come to a T just down from the headstone of Isaac Ross. I've done this trail a couple years ago, so I know eventually this will loop back onto itself. So it really doesn't matter which way you go. I usually always go to the right. And right down here, they've got a little lookout point for you. Benches, all that kind of thing, where you can just shoot down that trail. There it is. Kind of overlooking everything. Squirrel down there. And back onto the trail. Well, a little sign to William Bartram. Oh, it's not too far from where the T was, and you can see that's where the trail loops around to. I can see another little lookout point over here with some benches and stuff. Let's see, there it is. But yeah, it just kind of loops around. This is the middle part of April, and bring some mosquito spray along. I'm already starting to get ate up a little bit. This little trail goes right down here and across the footbridge right there. So we've come to another T. Down to the left, a nice little sitting area, and also the trail continues that way. It goes down to the river. But if we take a right, that is going to bring us out, and there's a big field right up on the other side of these trees, and that's going to really bring us out to Fort Jackson, which is the 1812 fort out here where Andrew Jackson accepted the surrender of the Creek Indians for the War of 1812. If I remember right, it wasn't all that long after the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, but don't hold me on gospel on that one. But there it is, Fort Jackson. All right, from where the last little video was, came out up into that field, you actually had your choice. You could have kept going more straight, or you could have taken the right like I did and come up out on top of the field. If you would have went to the left or more straight, would have went through the woods, and you can see the big railroad ties here. It's kind of hard to miss this trail, at least up on the top end of things. So you got to kind of try to get real hard to get off the trail here. But it would have come out right here. There's a sign for the nature trail, and you can go down there. And I think the railroad ties and stuff stop at this point as it goes more towards the river. However, the Indian mounds are up here to our right, and that's Fort Jackson again. And they do have a monument right there. I'm going to go over, I'll take some pictures and put that in the video as well. But the Indian Mound Trail is on the other side of Fort Jackson. I've never actually been over to that, so we're going to go and check that out. All right, so actually this is a monument. As I read the brochure, they actually had about 3 different Fort Toulouses down here, and so this is a monument to one of those. And then for Andrew Jackson. And another one about Fort Toulouse, National Historic Landmark in 1961. So there you go. There it is, Fort Jackson. Just a couple things about the fort here. Not sure that this was a period building. I think it's a reproduction. Who knows what it was used for at the time. But they do have one cannon readout area up here that they've rebuilt. This was what they considered kind of a star fort shaped fort. Over there you can see that's where another cannon redoubt was, right there and right there. So they've got it marked out where the perimeter of the fort was. Gives you kind of a good idea of how big this thing was. I have no idea how many guys were stationed here. I suppose you could research that out. There's the little gate that we came through. But what we're going to is right past that tree right there. That's the trail to the Indian burial mound. Well, like I said, we are right along the river here. I think earlier in the video I said the Alabama River. That is totally incorrect. This is the Toulouse River. Um, but it does flow down into the Coosa River, which eventually comes down and hooks up into the Alabama River just above Montgomery. But this is at the Tallapoosa and the Coosa rivers, hence the reason they put the fort here. Wow, so there it is. I'm not exactly sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't quite like this. I've been to some other burial mounds up in Tennessee. I've seen pictures of Moundville up in the north, kind of western part of the state of Alabama. But I just wasn't expecting a mound that was covered in trees and all that kind of thing, because the ones that I've seen, they've been more out in the open and clear cut and that kind of thing. So I don't know, just different, I guess. You know, when you don't quite know what to expect, you don't necessarily know what to say. It is very pretty out here, very quiet except for the occasional boat that goes down the river. So I could see why the Indians decided to bury their dead here, and a little open field over here. But very somber in place. Definitely worth the hike out here. Well, right across this field here is where I came out of the trail, and then we went across over into the fort, and then we came down through these two trees here and down to the burial mounds. But if you don't want to go over to the fort, there is a service road that will skirt around it. So you don't necessarily have to go over there. But I mean, really, who doesn't want to go into a fort? It's original works, that kind of thing. It's kind of silly not to go in there and at least take a look around and, you know, just get the feel for history. Now, I've not done really any research on all this. But I'm going to guess that the moat was an actual thing for this fort. I mean, it's in the same shape as the fort walls and everything we're at. So draw your own conclusions, look it up on the internet, do whatever you want to do. But me, I'm going to say this was an original thing to the fort. Would make sense, makes it harder to get across. And we came off the service road right there. There's the fort. There's another family enjoying the fort, taking their dog out for a walk. They got him on a leash. Good job, guys. I see a bag in the young man's hands to pick up any poo. Good job. But we get back, and there is the entrance to the trail. So let's head down that way. As you can see, the railroad ties have ended, but the trail is still pretty well defined. It's not necessarily the most heavily used trail, I don't think, but like I said, you can really still kind of see where it goes. It's pretty well worn in. Alrighty, so we come to this little sign here. You see visitor center that way. That's going to take us up to where that little landing was that I showed earlier in the video, and I had the little staircase down it. It is going to bring us here. Boat launch down to the river. Same here, forts and Indian mounds that way, the boat launch that way. So we're headed to the boat launch. I'm still down here by the visitor center sign and all that, and the mosquitoes have gotten terrible. So one thing that I carry in my bag, yeah, insect repellent. Also got some sunscreen in there, but don't leave home without it. All right, well, here we've got a problem. They had this nice little bridge, went to go cross it. Guess what? Yeah, it is down and out. So I guess we'll have to be a little creative in getting across this thing. There's the edge of the bridge. Tells you about, it's about eye level with me, and I'm around 5'9", so 5'10". So we're in the trenches here, a good 4.5 foot. I don't know if I mean, this is definitely a waterway of some sort. I don't know if the bridge kind of got washed out or what the deal is, but we'll get across this thing. Well, you got to be kind of committed if you want to continue on this way. After some slipping and sliding, there was no easy way across this. I'm really not sure how I'm going to get back across this thing, but there the trail continues. Not too far down from the washed out bridge, here's a little sign for the boat launch. If you look through, you can see a clearing, and that's where the parking lot for the boat launch and everything is at. Now, like I said earlier, I've been on this trail before. I know that if I take a right here, and there is a path that'll take us right down to the river with a much better natural view than the cement boat ramps. So that's where we're going to go. Alrighty folks, here we have come to the Coosa River. Doggone it, there was a big old turtle sitting on that tree branch right there I was going to take a picture of, but I guess he didn't want to hear what I had to say. For all I know, you guys don't either. But it's a pretty steep bank. We had some pretty heavy rains here not that long ago, so it would have been kind of impressive to come down here and see how high the water was. But very, very pretty. Easy to see why the Indians wanted to live here. Well, I've spent a few minutes here just kind of enjoying this. We're going to head on back, and all you do is turn 180 degrees and back the way we came. We'll have to cross over that little footbridge and all that until we get to the signpost, the crossroads, if you will. Maybe Robert Johnson will be there selling his soul to the devil, who knows. If y'all don't know who Robert Johnson is, look him up. One of the best blue players ever, early on, back in the 30s, 1930s. You can cut through down here and that'll take you right to the boat ramp, as well as that other little spot that I showed just a few minutes ago. We came down these stairs. Up at top there's a little bench if you want to sit on the bench. And then, like I said, it's off to the washed out bridge and to the crossroads. I made it across, but you can see the skid marks. Yeah, I went for a nice little ride. So until they replace this footbridge, get it strung back across, whatever, the trip across here may not be worth it, because it's not a lot of fun getting back and forth across here. I kind of figured that was going to happen, but this trail from here to where the little sign is that points you over to the boat ramp can't be but 150 yards. So if you want to come and do this little part, I would say go back to the parking lot, hop in your car, drive down the road to the boat ramp, and then walk it backwards and finish it out that way until they get this bridge fixed. So here I'm back at this crossroads. Right there is the Bridge of Doom. I can't remember if I took video of that when I first came here or not, but there it is. It's literally 15-20 yards from this little crossroads here, and this will head us up back towards the visitor center, as the sign says. Aha! So here's that little staircase and the nice seating area that I talked about right at the beginning of the video, or fairly close to the beginning. Thank God this is in good shape, seems to be. And here we go. And from this point on, it's all railroad ties and such again. And right in here is where we split off to go up to the fort. To the parking lot. And here's where we came in earlier. There's that loop there. And this is the one that'll go around. It'll connect out on the other side. And here we are on the other side of the loop. And right back here, this is that little side trail for the headstone, the Isaac Ross headstone. And I can see headlights or taillights through here. So we're almost back to the parking lot. Okay, everyone, that was the Fort Toulouse / Jackson hiking trail, or as it's designated here, the Bartram Arboretum Trail. Altogether, it was 1.8 miles. I did it in just over an hour. And by the way, today's video was brought to you by, BC's. After I fell in the gully there at the washed out bridge, my back and butt's already feeling it, mostly in my back. But overall, this is a fantastic trail, except for the washed out bridge, which, hey, I didn't check the website before I came out here. It could have very easily been posted in there that that thing wasn't there. But it was still, it was a gorgeous hike. Saw a little bit of wildlife, a couple squirrels, one little lizard running along the railroad ties right at the very end, but thankfully no snakes. Fat boy doesn't like snakes, and I can set new land speed records if I come across one. So, aside from the trail, this is just a really neat historical place. I'm actually sitting in one of the little Indian villages right now. Directly across from me is the Fort Toulouse, the reproduction area. We'll post some pictures after I close this video out. Took a bunch of stuff inside and out. They do have a cannon up there that's covered up. It's roped off. You can't get to it and play on it and that kind of thing. But every year in November, they do have some living historians out here. They have the French Marines. They've got some Indians. They've got 1812 guys out there at Fort Jackson, and they do a jam-up job on educating the public. So if you're ever in this area, or even if you're not from this area or close to it, it's worth the trip out here to come and see these living historians out on this little area. Original land, you can't get better than that when it comes to history. But the park does a fantastic job. I think it's the second weekend in November every year. It's right around Veterans Day, I know that, because it's always the same weekend that the Civil War reenactment at Tallahassee takes place. So if you want to do a twofer for history things, come out here and then go out to Tallahassee to see the Civil War reenactment. But out here at Fort Toulouse, Fort Jackson, these guys are just amazing. Like I said, the French Indians, the 1812 guys, and they also have a little blacksmith shop out here, and they do some stuff out here. It used to be once a month there was an actual blacksmithing group that would get out here. Now, they weren't doing period correct kind of things, but I had come across somebody that actually does some of that, and I was invited to come out and learn a little bit, but I've yet to take them up on that. But like I said, overall, come on out, great park. They do charge $2 to get in, but that's not very bad at all. There's a small camping area here, so if you got your travel trailers, tents, whatever, Boy Scouts do come out here and do some stuff every now and then. It's well worth it. So until the next time, this is the Biker Hiker. Ride safely, hike safely. Peace out. All right, everybody, I appreciate you sticking with this one. These videos seem to be getting longer and longer. I hope you guys don't mind that too much. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that YouTube junk. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.